was, are you taking a class?
I will all the jobs you're making me do.
He's doing that on purpose.
I guess we need to clarify also, I was enrolled in that class, and due to a credit card issue, everybody's fees got bounced. So the people that are going to their class are paying out of their pockets, which they shouldn't have to, and they're going to have to get reimbursed by the township.
What's the credit card issue that nobody's told me about since I'm the finance person? Nobody's told me about a credit card issue.
When did that
Trustees
happen?
have a credit card.
When did that happen? When did you apply for a class that got canceled due to the credit card?
I don't have that document in front of me, Mr. McLaughlin.
Well, your memory don't tell you? A month ago, a year ago, when?
About a month ago, 2 months ago.
Can I ask
We wanted to get in there, we wanted to get in early, but the credit card thing was told to all you trustees.
what credit
Emails
card
were
are you?
sent.
What credit card are you
The
addressing?
one that the trustees asked you to issue, and you got it.
I asked you a question. Which credit card?
Correct.
It said it had, it's from
Your credit
from
card
Fifth Third
has
Bank,
not
and
worked.
it said Stephen Wolf. It said Board of Trustees,
Okay.
and it was issued. Mr. Mann told me, brought it to me from the mailbox, and said,
Okay,
"Here's your
so
credit
if
card."
Mr. Mann brought it to you from the mailbox and did not tell me, and I didn't record it, the credit card policy says I need to record. So Mr. Mann, the next time you get a credit card, it needs to come through me first. The bank called me and asked me, did a credit card come in from Mr. Wolf? And I told them no, and they canceled it. Nobody ever told me the credit card come in. I cannot answer a question. If I didn't get the card, it gets canceled. So from now on, please make the credit card come through me. And then, so that is only one person's fault right now, it sounds like, and was Mr. Mann. So the credit card needs to come to me because they're going to call me and ask me whether the credit card was accepted. And on top of that, the trustees have a credit card. Why didn't anybody ask for that credit card? Those are all
It's not an excuse for
They
me.
are
I'm going to speak up about
Yes, they
this.
are.
Tracy, trustees, can I have the floor?
I try to correct you,
Number
but can I
one,
have the floor?
this is the third credit card that's been canceled since I started 5 years
Because you
ago.
don't.
We can't even buy toilet paper, so I'm donating the toilet paper for this bath to use in the bathroom.
There's an employee reimbursement form.
It doesn't matter. I'm spending my money, and I should not
There's
be
an employee
spending my money.
reimbursement form.
But trustees, you passed 3 resolutions since I've been here to issue credit cards. And
You're the only one having problems
And we
with
need-
the credit
They've
card.
never been valid.
We need to go over the credit card policy. We
For
have,
purposes of the audience, I want to frame this up. We're talking less than $200 worth of transactions, but yet,
so
according
let's
to the
talk,
bank statements with Fifth Third Bank, we've got $3.5 million in here.
if you want to talk
Waste
about,
this.
okay, good, finish
I
up.
still have the floor, if you don't mind, Mr. McGuire.
Go ahead.
So for the residents don't know, the fire department has credit card. They've got an account with Amazon. They got all the abilities to go buy their supplies that they need. My staff can't do anything except put it on their own credit card most of the time unless we got a charge account somewhere. How is the unfair treatment of your complete employees that work here? And you say, or someone may say, well, that's the road department, that's not fire. That's discrimination toward your workers.
Well, so you're
And you
saying
gotta
the
stop it.
trustees aren't doing their job and they didn't approve credit cards or credit for you because that's what you're saying. So why
Well,
don't you just,
the trustees passed 3
they
resolutions.
did
Tracy.
not
They-
approve
I
the
have
credit
them.
card.
I have them that says issue credit
It was
cards. No,
tabled.
they tabled the credit account. They did not, but I'm not here to argue. I know
Yes,
what's
you
in
are.
print. I
You
know
are.
what's
If it's
fact.
not your way, it's an argument.
Okay, so,
Trustees,
let's-
trustees, I have the floor still. I'm just speaking up about how the conditions are.
okay,
Mr.
so I need,
McGuire,
When you pass a resolution, that is the law of the land.
Actually, well,
And we did.
For a credit card to be issued,
Linda
and it
had
never
the
got
floor,
told that it
not
got
Mr.
shut
Wolf.
off. I have the floor. Please,
Linda
everybody.
had the floor, not you.
Order.
Mr. President, do I have the
Wolf,
floor?
finish your thoughts.
You have workers out here that have their morale, and they're putting their life on the line, being passed by cars every day, and then you turn around and you can't even issue a
Wow.
credit card. There's a problem here. We're not going to bankrupt the township. Everyone is bonded. If someone steals the money, it's bonded. But no one seems to listen. The morale is great with the road department and the zoning and whatever. But when you do this, you don't know what you're doing to those people. You've got to run your departments equally, and you don't. But when trustees voted and signed resolutions that said issue a credit card, and there isn't one currently working, you three trustees have got to solve that problem. That's all I have to say.
Okay,
This
so
was related to the spray licenses, so Linda, finish up your thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wolf was talking about resolutions, when they're signed, and that's the end of it. Was the resolution that the road department administrator or the road department superintendent, when that resolution was signed, has that ever been unsigned? Or does that resolution still stand today?
In reference to what?
In reference to the road department supervisor having a spray license.
it is still good.
It applied to the person at that time, and we had a lawsuit and settlement there. That's not good. It's part of his write-up. It was part of his 90-day work plan. Well, we can't talk anymore about HR.
That resolution does not have verbiage in there about that.
Okay, Mr. President, can I have the floor for a minute?
Okay, I'm gonna close out.
Mr. McLaughlin, I didn't say I wouldn't go. And to Linda, I didn't say I wouldn't go. But when the credit card got canceled and we thought we were all out of the classes, I fought for some people to get back into the class. But you're having me do all these jobs. I don't have time to go to class right now and study. I'll make the commitment. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not in any violation because it wasn't part of my job description and it never has been.
I just asked. I just wondered because
Doesn't sign.
I just
You,
wondered.
or how revised code says, you work at the pleasure of the trustee.
I give up. Okay, I give up. Y'all finish your meeting.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Mr. Fletcher, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening. I have a couple of questions. The first two questions would go
Excuse me,
to,
Mr. Fletcher, you need to say your name and address.
okay, Randall Fletcher, 5256 Big Bend Drive. Mr. Wolf, the question that I have, once the zoning manager is on medical leave, who should the residents notify if they have zoning type issues?
Okay, I'm going to clarify something for you, Mr. Fletcher. It's the the code enforcement officer. He takes care of Tony McKee that you met with or you've talked to.
Okay.
His responsibility is the code enforcement. That's the junk cars, the high weeds, the vacant homes, the whatever. Your zoning person that's vacant takes care of the zoning code, manages the zoning commission, manages the BZA, the Board of Zoning Appeals, takes permits, and does all those things involving the map and the zoning code.
Okay.
Those are two separated positions. So to answer your question, I believe you asked, when code enforcement goes on leave, we'll make a determination at that time on who everyone reports to.
Okay, so it still will occur. Is that correct for the residents?
Yeah, you'll still get service. It will not stop. Same as what we're trying to do now, holding down the fort till the trustees make a decision on hiring the vacant. Personally, I've told you and your wife, I'd come out and meet you at your, obviously at our schedules. I'll meet with you and go through anything you want me to do. I've offered that to every resident, but I will tell you this as well. If the trustees write the job description correctly for the new hire of the zoning officer, you will have that backup when that code enforcement officer goes on leave. Because your zoning administrator will have all those skills to do that job.
So you're anticipating a backup? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I'm hoping the trustees do, yes. Because we want to give service to the residents, and that's the 100% responsibility of the township trustees.
Okay, so hopefully there won't be a backup, but you do have someone that the residents can contact. The other question that I have is just for clarification. You were talking about a road that was unsafe, or it was definitely in need of repairs. Did you say that we do not have funding, meaning the township, to patch the road? Did I hear that correctly?
We don't have the funding to do the full rebuild, which is $400,000 a mile. Do you understand that? In other words, rebuild. That means repaving, fixing what's underneath. A full rebuild is $400,000 a mile. An overlay might cost you around $100,000, but you have deep patching to do before you can overlay. So you may be a little bit between $100 to $150 to do 1 mile of road. That's the cost we're looking at today. Now, we can go out and pothole patches our crews have been doing, but they've been doing that for multiple years. And the trouble, have you been on that road, Mr. Fletcher?
No, but if you you can email it to me and I'll go check it out.
All right. There's a lot of tree canopy, meaning trees hang over the road.
Okay.
The sun doesn't get to the roadway. Moisture causes the roadway to explode basically from underneath. And because it never gets done and it never gets dry. Some of the sections of 40 is in fairly good shape because it gets the sunshine. But at the same time, you still get potholes in those sections. It all comes from the way the road is covered, and it's been a number of years of cover. And so it's almost like you're driving. It's a very neat road to drive on in terms of beauty, but the road itself is really deteriorated.
Okay. I'm just curious, is there like a strategic plan as far as how you all go about fixing or repairing the roads?
There was no plan when I got here 5 years ago. And the first year I was here, I introduced the trustees into hiring an engineering firm. And the engineering firm named Choice One Engineering out of Sydney, Ohio. Choice One evaluated all roads, sidewalks, curbs, in the conditions, and then ranked them based on worst to best.
Okay, so with that ranking, what is normally done? So now you know where the needs are. What are we doing to address those needs?
All right, so we had the Board of Trustees decide what they wanted to do first. So 2 years ago, we put in an application to Ohio Public Works. It was the first single application ever applied by Jefferson Township to receive federal money towards the road project. The initial application we did not get, and that was to rebuild a section of Derby Road between Infirmary and Tucson. Well, it'd be Kimmel Lane, with curbs, sidewalks, a new bridge at the bottom, and the roadway. And the township only had to pay a portion of the cost of that roadway, not $400,000 or $500,000 for the project out of their own pocket. That was the first place, but we were looking at Derby because of the high traffic
50%.
and the condition of the width and the length of being in 2 phases or 3 phases. We also looked to the country, and we put a bid out to be able to do Weaver Road was our first road, which have major I call it steam problems, where you come along and it's like a thump, 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 thump every time you go across the steam. Mm-hmm. We're going to lose those country roads as well. So the trustees said do a portion of Derby and do Weaver. Well, we got the grant secondhand, the second time around, because COVID caused the cities to dump the money. They dumped all their big projects. So the little townships in Ohio, and this happened all over the state, started getting money. We got the money for Derby Roads Phase 2, which was that lower section. But because they didn't work it out on the trustee fiscal officer level, that grant had to be returned. So the township lost out on grant money that we've been fighting for 3 years. So to answer your question, we tried, and I ask the trustees every December since I started doing roads, give me a list of roads you want us to do. And as of today, I've not received a list. So we have to try to figure it out ourselves. And there is massive road problems all over the country and in the urban areas, including storm boxes that are starting to fail. And there was no plan to do that before. Now it's a matter of putting that schedule together that you should have, and say every 2 years or every year you're going to do road 1, road 2, just like you're alluding to, Mr.
Right.
Fletcher. And so I tried to get the trustees to put that plan together, and it hasn't happened.
So are you, and one more question for you. As far as, so we're losing money because of we don't have a grant writer around here, or we don't have?
No. In Montgomery County, we're a little different than the other 87 counties. Well, there's 88 counties. The other 87 do things a little different. Here, we compete against the city of Dayton. We compete against Montgomery County Engineers. We compete against Montgomery County Environmental Services, which is 2 divisions. They get to put applications in for sewer and for water. Then the city of every city in the county,
Christ.
we compete against. We do not. Townships rarely get any money ever out of the program.
So why are we not competitive? What?
Not enough traffic.
What's missing?
The population. They call it rooftops. That's first. Second is well, I said population. Third is the traffic count. What is the traffic count on a road? And you take a Salem Avenue or a North Main, for instance, in Dayton, we don't have any traffic load of any of that size. So you lose points on those. Number 2, neighborhood streets don't carry the safety, as they call it, as the major roads in a city. So that has a lot to do with it. The next part of it is how old is the road? It's a huge, and I can sit down and show you because I sit on the board that helps sublet these grants, and we score them every year. There's like 12 of us that score them, city managers, and it's a very complex thing. Now, Jefferson is kind of rare. Small townships and villages can go apply to what they call small government, which is a separate fund set up by the state legislature for small government to get road money. We would qualify there if we had a population under 5,000. Because we don't have, we have over 7,000 population. We can't go to the small government fund and get any money where the other townships and villages do. So this township has to rely on only issue 2 money, called OPWC, Ohio. And so when you talk about this country road or Weaver or Derby, any of those have to put an application in with an engineering firm. There's no cost up front. The engineering firm doesn't charge you a dime, but their incentive is to get the grant, and then they become the engineering party to the project. So they get their money from the grant. So whenever you get those grants, you've got to fight like heck never to give them up, because you never know if you're ever going to get another one. Since Jefferson's never gotten one directly by itself, all that money goes to other communities and they enjoy it, and we don't get any. So when this all happened, that just showed an example. Today, I saw one of the neighbors walking their dog down that section of Derby. Very dangerous without sidewalks. They could have had sidewalks for the kids to walk out of Tucson and walk up Derby and maybe walk across the street to Blairwood School. Not a possibility now. So it's very tough to come up with bulk money because the township road department doesn't have. Even if they had no employees in there, you don't have enough generated to take care of the road damages that you have. So you have to find a way to piecemeal, and just like you suggested, put a schedule together that says, this is what we're gonna do every year. Some residents may be 20 years from now, but unfortunately, that's all the money you have. You have to be realistic, but you also have to have it documented so everyone knows that this road's gonna get fixed. And then you only have to, only other thing you could do is patch. The other thing I wanna let you know, Mr. Fletcher, there is no Bobcat, there is no road paving equipment, there's no roller. We have a used hot box that I was able to get Harrison Township to donate, but it doesn't have a torch in it. So we can still go get full patch in the winter, but we don't have the equipment to dig out properly and do our own excavation. So it's very difficult without having the right equipment to do it. And we've asked for that opportunity, you know, to buy some, and again, funds are tight.
All right, thank you. Didn't know that. It's good to know.
Anytime you got questions, I'll answer what's factual.
All right, thank you. I have a couple of questions for the trustees. Part of this is a question from the last meeting that we had. And I had asked the trustees about collaborating to work on the language, or work on language that includes the residents into the agenda, not exclude them. And so my question is, are the trustees willing to make that happen? And one of the reasons that I say that is I looked at this, the agenda now, it has comments by citizens, and I don't remember the last agenda having that on there. And with that being added on there, my question is, I'm like, with us trying to, have transparency, why are the citizens being excluded? And some of the language on there, it says the trustees are not to be interrupted during the business portion of the meeting. You guys are elected officials, so I don't understand how general questions that are pertaining to whatever the topic is during the meeting, as long as it is done respectfully, how that would ever be considered an interruption. So can somebody explain why that kind of language is actually on our agenda?
I'll give my 2 cents. I did not put that language there, and I don't care to hear from you. If you guys, if you're going to talk about the subject matter that we're talking about at the time, and have a question about that topic, I think you should be able to ask a question. And then you have the residents' comments, and you can talk during there. I think the 3-minute rule has been thrown out because we don't live by it. Several meetings, we go longer than 3 minutes. I think the residents should be able to talk and ask whatever they want to ask. So maybe you want to ask the other 2 trustees and see get their opinion.
Mr. McGuire, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, Mr. Fletcher, I don't think you truly understand the structure of our meeting yet, okay? This is the Board of Trustees meeting to conduct business, okay? This is not a public hearing, which you are basically trying to pitch, okay? So some of the information that you're expecting ahead of time and wanting to get involved with the debate, that's why I make those decisions, vote it out. Now, you want input, that's where working with the elected officials, like, I guess you and McLaughlin were supposed to meet. Did you guys meet up, talk?
I don't remember a meeting. So that's new news to me.
I don't know if you guys are supposed to talk on the phone or whatever, but
he reached out to me.
No other government
in the meeting. He did. You were there. He extended the olive leaf and he gave me his number. So you were at that meeting. But
right.
When you guys just made a comment
and have a dialogue.
Right. Can you add to this? You said you don't understand, or you just alluded to, you said, I don't understand how a meeting should be ran. Do you understand the value of the residents to your job? Do you know how that's connected? Do you understand that?
Thank you very much.
Because, see, you're looking at it, for some odd reason, you're looking at it different than it actually is. You're an elected official. I don't work for you. You work for the residents.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's make some language that's inclusive to the residents so that they can be a part of what's going on. You don't exclude them. You don't exclude the people that pay you. That's not how this works.
That's the
So
whole
that's why
purpose
I
of
keep
a public
asking-
hearing.
What did you say?
That is the purpose of a public hearing. I mean, Mr. Fletcher, you could organize your own meeting and have these discussions. But again, some of the things that you're expecting from the trustees, we're here to talk government business. Okay, yeah, resident input is important.
Your
Yes.
business is, you're discussing our business.
But you're wanting to involve yourself in our debate. So during
No,
the
I should be involved. And what don't you understand? I am supposed to be involved. I should not be considered an interruption. That's a problem. What don't you get?
This is the Board of Trustees meeting, Mr. Fletcher. So until my colleagues want to do some legislation to change that, they could vote it out. We can set the rules for the meeting, and we don't even have to have public comment. And if you look at other government meetings, how many of them do you see the public interrupt? Look at City Dayton. You see the public interrupting their floor discussions. Washington Township, have you looked at another meeting? I mean, you can light me up all you want, but this is the rules of our meeting today. You're wanting to muscle in on our discussion, and this is a debate and a discussion amongst the elected officials, and we value the public opinion. But the way
No, you don't.
No, you do not, Mr. McGuire.
Because the way you have this set up, you put this in there. You put that language in there. And so that sends a message to everyone that reads that you do not value or care about their opinion. So that tells me that you're not trying to be transparent, because it wouldn't bother you if a resident had a question here or there. I've been polite, and everyone that's been here over the last month since I've been here, no one's disrupted your meeting. Every question that was asked was relevant to the topics that were being discussed. Mm-hmm. Every time.
And the flow of this meeting went great.
Right. So why have that kind of language in there? I don't understand it. And there's no reason for it. I can see if meetings were being derailed, if that's what you were experiencing, but that's not what you're experiencing. So you're putting that in there. People, that deters people from wanting to even join. And there's value in us collectively being together and discussing things. That's how you learn. You share and exchange information. You're trying to turn it into one-way communication, which is, hey, I'm going to tell you how it is, and that's the gospel. We haven't been getting anywhere. You haven't gotten too far.
But again, Mr. Fletcher, it's fine to have those types of meetings, but not at the Board of Trustee meetings. It's not a public hearing, and that's the piece that,
I read well. I can read well, and I understand things correctly as well. And I also, just like I read that, I understand exactly what you're getting at, and I brought it up. You just don't want to hear it. So once again, I I'm extending the olive branch. Let's collectively work on some language that includes the residents. Mr. Mann, are you on board?
Yes,
Thank you,
I'm-
sir. So I don't want to hold everybody up. Send me an invite, email invite or something. Let's get together and let's make language that's inclusive. That's all we have to do. Thank you, sir. That's all I need. So we have a couple of us. Let's just make it happen. Let's not talk about it anymore. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes citizen comments. Trustee reports. Mr. McLaughlin.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm on the bottom of the list, but I'll go first. So, as was mentioned in the fire report, I have started spraying, with my own equipment, my own spray, and just whatever it takes. But I do want to talk about that a little bit, and the fact that when I did get my spray license, there was a resolution on the resolution in the township that is still there today, and our current road superintendent did not have a spray license. So a bunch of us got that taken care of, and of course the administrator helped us out with that. He did the communication with the state of Ohio and the agricultural department, and we were going to have the class at the Calumet, and I thought everything was good. And then the administrator goes on vacation and leaves. Didn't say nothing to us, and we had a phone call from the people giving the class. Hey, you owe us $2,000. What? And there again, we had no insight at what was going on, no communication from the administrator. He goes out of town and did not tell us about the bill that we had, that we paid to have this class. And just poor communication. And then also I want to thank Steve for his report. I'm glad he gave us a short version of the report and not the long version. I hate to see how the long version was. But on the last page of the road report, I'm seeing documented 6 employees in the road department, and then he also spoke about hiring 4 more. That's 10 people in the road department. I've never ever remember having 10 people in the road department, and I know when I was over the road department, we didn't have anything near that. And you wonder why we can't pave roads? We're paying too much in labor. We do not need 10 people in Jefferson Township in the road department, be it part-time or whatever. You can do that with 2 or 3 people. Especially if you have a working administrator. What else do I have on here? I had a phone call today from a resident in regards to, and they sent me a picture, Old Road. There's some trees that he looked at over the Old Road. It's a safety hazard. And of course, again, that probably won't be our fault, like the one on Calumet. But when you take a look at that, I will drive Forney Road. I thank you for letting me know about that. And then about the phone calls. So people calling in the township, evidently calling and can't get answers, and Steve Wolf is sitting there and listening to people call. I'm not sure why he's not picking the phone up. But I'll tell the residents again, and since I've been a township trustee